It's Thursday morning. Hello. It's noon. I've been working for a while now. I'm severely stressed out, and it's because I have too much to do and I don't know what to work on first. So I'm making this video kind of as a therapy to figure out what to do. I've come to the realization that I don't own a business. I'm just an employee that's working for myself. And last night I had this realization. I was like, holy crap. I'm just like an overworked employee with a bad boss. And that is painful to say, right? But it's absolutely true. And I have to figure this out and fix it. So one of the things that I've always said about myself is that I am not good at hiring and managing. And that has not served me well. So I'm going to change that. I don't know what to do to change it, but I'm going to figure this out. At least getting, I think, step number one of figuring out what the problem is being real with the problem. So number one, I'm awful at delegating and creating systems that work with people. And I think that's just as a fact of being, a little bit of backstory really quickly. I'm going to set up a tripod so it's not so wiggly. 1 second here. 1 second. Little backstory. I think this is going to give you some good context to where the problem is coming from. So here we go. Okay, so I changed my lens. I used my 11-22. I love this lens. It looks really cool. Okay. I've got my coffee right here. It's jumbo coffee. I live on it. It doesn't help with the anxiety, but it helps because it's delicious. Okay, so back in the last recession, I think this is where most of the problems have started, and probably if you remember that, and a lot of people that are younger don't remember what that was like, but here's basically how it went for me in a nutshell. So last recession, I was doing real estate as an investor. Market went to crap. Economy went to crap. It got bad. I dropped out of college, and I basically didn't know what to do. So was living back at home with my parents. I was 21 and didn't have a job, didn't have a plan, didn't know what I wanted to do. And so what ended up happening is that my parents said, hey, you can't be doing this. You have to follow our rules if you're going to be living at home. And I was 21 at the time. I didn't like the rules that they were throwing down because I was 21. It's like, I'm an adult. I get to make my own choices. But, if you're living at home like a kid, not having a plan, not having a goal, just aimlessly wandering, I get why they did it now. And so they're like, hey, you need to move out or do something, right? They just wanted something to happen. And I could totally see that makes total sense. It was a great move on their part because it forced me to do something, right? So that initial, doing something, what should I do? I went and I found a sailboat for sale that was $300. Okay, this boat was a piece of turd. It was actually an amazing deal for $300. It leaked. It had water. I'd have to bail it out in the morning. If it rained, the water would leak in. It was 21 foot, so you couldn't stand up underneath it. It had a little galley that the sink was missing. It had a spot to sit, and I basically borrowed. I didn't have any money. I borrowed $300 from my parents and said, hey, can I have this? They said, you have to pay it back in 2 months or else we'll repossess your boat. I was like, okay. It was serious. 1 second. I'll show you here really quick. So really quick here. This was the first computer. So I bought that sailboat. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a job. Well, I actually just got a job at a bike shop selling bikes. 1 second, my battery's gonna die. Just 1 second. Sorry. So back at it. So I had bought this boat for $300. The guy that sold me the boat was actually, he said he had bought a James Bond movie submarine and he needed money for another project. He lived out in a place called Lake Elsinore. Really interesting guy, but he was selling it for $300. So I took it. My rent there on the slip was $280 a month, which was amazing. I live in Southern California. That is insanely cheap, right? And so they had all the services and things on the dock. And so I was able to do laundry and had all of that right there. So it was actually amazing. And I always wanted to live on a sailboat. So super cool to get that kind of off the bucket list. The boat was rough. It did sail. It came with a boat that had actual function sails, and it functioned as a sailboat. I actually took it out a bunch of times, which was really risky. My whole house was, out in the ocean. But I didn't have a car. I had my bike, and luckily I was dating my now wife, but former girlfriend, Michelle, who, God only knows why she stuck around. I was definitely not a winner, but she obviously is a smarter person. Thank you, my wife. I love you. You're everything. But it was to the point where she would have to buy me meals because I didn't have any money. If I hadn't had her, I would have gone hungry, and I don't know what I would have done. But back to this story here. We had. It was just rough, and I got a job at a bike shop that was down the road, about a 5-minute walk in Dana Point. That was called Revo Cycles, and it took me 8 times to get this job. I wanted this job so bad because I didn't have anything. The economy was slow, and I ended up selling $780,000 worth of bikes in the first 10 months that I worked there. So I killed it for him. But that was also the first place that I started doing digital marketing. I created a Facebook page for them. This was back in 2008, and that was before anybody thought that social media was actually going to be a thing. So that's where I started, and I was remembering that I was able to drive people from Facebook into the bike shop, and just how powerful that was. I would see people that said, "Hey, I just saw your post on Facebook and I came in," and I was like, man, there's something to this. And I actually bought my first book my first book on marketing was called Permission Marketing by Seth Godin, and the first actual digital marketing book that I bought was Digital Marketing for Dummies, and so I started basically consuming everything I possibly could, and I started doing anytime something needed to be done, I would just volunteer to do it for free so that we could get it going. So with that, I bought this computer, which I still have it. It doesn't work or turn on. If you take a look right here, I had to actually hardwire this because the charging port broke. But I used this computer for 4 or 5 years, and I saved it. I always want to save it because I said to myself, I'm going to make $1 million from this computer, digital marketing. I remember sitting in my boat the first night, and I didn't have any sheets or anything, right? So it's just a pleather boat cushion, and there was nothing in the boat. I had all of my belongings in 2 small plastic containers, my bike in there, and I just remember thinking, how did I get to this point? How did I let this happen? And how can I keep it from ever happening again? And it was a really good lesson to learn, and I'm so glad that I learned it back then versus learning it now. I have 3 kids, and so it's super strong and fresh in my memory. So one thing I think is super, so that being said, that mentality of being, okay, I have to figure this out, and I have to do it, and I have to do everything myself. I don't have a budget, right? That bootstrap mentality served me so well in the beginning because I had no other choice. I had to do it, right? So I would go out and I'd say, how do I learn how to do this? I'd do it. How do I learn how to do this? I'd do it. I've created so many products, so many websites, so many campaigns, just actually doing every single piece of it myself. But now I'm to the point where I, had been saying yes to everything, any opportunity that came, the answer was always yes. But now it's to a point where I have expertise, I have real skills that are extremely valuable. So any time that I'm spending away from doing those activities, it's costing me money, and it's also costing my family opportunity to be with me just because I'm so busy with things. And I know that I'm anyways. So that is the mentality that I have to get out of now. So I had a kind of a lack and scarcity mentality where I was saying, okay, I have to do this. It's up to me. I'm the only person who can change my destiny. Got to get to it. Now it's to the point where, okay, if I want to grow or get better or increase, it's going to be from a position of I have to build a team around me that's going to help me get to the next level. So that is what I'm going to do today. And I'm going to start figuring out how specifically to do that. I think that probably the most effective way for me to do this would be to hire some kind of a coach, probably. Get some kind of a training program, something, right? In the past, all of the things that have made the biggest differences professionally have been like specifically coaches, mentoring, coaches, and courses. And so if you, like, typically if I wanted to do, you know, like an Ironman, for example, I would hire an Ironman coach. If I wanted to do digital marketing like AdWords and stuff, like I've hired AdSkills. If I wanted to do copywriting, I'd hire a copywriting coach. So it only makes sense, I think, to find somebody that's gonna help me there. I have got to get so much done today. It's giving me a panic attack. I just wanted to kind of put this out there because I've been thinking about it. So I would love to know, do you know somebody who could help? Because that would be awesome. All right, gonna get to work. I hope you enjoyed the little story. Let's see here. I gotta write down what I need to do because I got so much to do. I'm not going to not gonna know what to do. I was wondering, do you keep your old computers too? This one's special. I'm gonna mount it on the wall up there, I think, because this one's special. It weighs like 12 pounds. This thing is heavy. All right, going to get to work now. All right, so today's turning out to be a fine day. There, I got my list of stuff that I've been working on. I've done a ton of things today so far. I've set up a really cool training and a webinar that's going to help to automate things. As far as the problem of trying to figure out how to grow and how to build systems, I'm going to, number one, read the book Traction, which I actually just got on audiobook, so I think that that's going to be super important. And then number two is I'm going to build systems out that will help me to grow the business. So at least one new system a week is what I'm going to go for. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's better than what I have right now. And so I think it's going to be solid. So with that, like, I'm going to have traffic systems, which is for basically onboarding. I'm going to have onboarding systems, and then I'm going to have retention systems. So I think that those are the three kind of areas that I need to grow in, and then basically plug people in as we go. I'm going to trying to decide, should I do VAs? Should I do... Obviously, people are going to be virtual. I don't have any more space inside my house. Anyways, I'd love to know kind of what have been some helpful things for you if you've grown your business or your agency in getting to the next level from a scaling standpoint. So if you've ever read the book Traction, let me know what you think about that. I think it's going to be super helpful. But I'm just going to have to force myself to get it done and step outside of my comfort zone. And hopefully, if I can build enough traffic systems, retention systems, onboarding systems, I can just hire people for specific tasks within each one of these systems. So that's the thought. Anyways, I'm going to record a video for marketing tutorial and then just grind away at work today. But that's pretty much it for today's vlog. Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to subscribe. If you like this channel, be sure to comment and say hey, say what's up, say what you're working on. If you ever have any questions, need help with anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. And I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day, everybody. Take it easy.